Thanks, Claire. All right, on your feet, let's go. Ready position, please. Come to attention. Feet together, hands to the side, shoulders back. If you got parents or buddies there, face them, bow, say thank you. Face front, bow. Be my best. Ready position, student creed. I will develop myself in a positive manner and avoid anything that could reduce my mental growth or physical health. I will develop self-discipline in order to bring out the best in myself and others. I will use my common sense before self-defense and never be abusive or offensive. This is a black belt school. We are dedicated. We are motivated. We're on a quest to be the best. Step out, punch, go, AI. 10 strong punches. Ready, set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Hey, hands back. Start block set. Right hand, go up, in, out, touch, down, back, push down, left, up, in, out, touch, down, back, and push down. 2 hands up, in, out, touch, down, back, and push down. Back to ready, please. And jumping jack. Start warming up a little bit.
Chrissy, you start walking all the way over your head.
Good to see you guys today. Hopefully everybody's feeling pretty good and ready to work a little bit. We are just a couple weeks into this new cycle, and we're just starting on our new kata and stuff. So we'll be breaking stuff down quite a bit as part of class today, making sure we focus on some footwork and some basic mechanics that need to be put in place to make sure everything works out good. All right, about 3 more, 2, and 1. Arms forward. Good. The other thing we're going to talk about real quick is our message for the week. We're working on leadership and back, and just some pretty simple, basic kind of stuff when you think about it. But we typically, we kind of operate from a concept that nobody really cares what you know until they know that you care, right? So if you want to be a good leader, hands up, cross body. If you want to be a good leader, you got to take a little bit of time and invest a little bit of time in your people. Let them know that you care, because it's going to make it where your input to them will be more appropriate and better received. So number one, if you want to lead well, you need to show people that you're invested in them and that you care. 3, 2,
Marcus, good rotation.
And 1. All right, feet about shoulder width, stretch in the center. Number 2 is to be enthusiastic. If you're leading on a project or trying to accomplish a specific goal, your enthusiasm goes a long way to bringing the team along, right? If I came into class every day and was like, well, we got to do these things, and that's our class, and it wasn't positive, and it didn't tie together in a way that moves you forward, you know, it would get pretty hard to want to just come to class every day and do the things. But when the things all have a purpose, and I'm excited to share them, and I can share how they benefit you over to your right, then it makes it a lot easier to invest your time, effort, and energy. Right, so your enthusiasm makes a huge difference. And the third one, which, like I said, is pretty obvious, but if you can't say something nice, don't say anything. And that doesn't, you know, sometimes we'll tease somebody a little bit and be what we think is funny, and they don't necessarily feel that way about it, or they're not necessarily in the right frame of mind to be joked with like that. Over to your left, right? And so if you're in a leadership position, you never want to run the risk of ruining that rapport and ruining that positive effort by taking a gamble on being a little bit too cute, right? So just if you don't have something nice to say and it can't be supportive, just don't say it. Back to center. If you kind of always work that way, then it's a lot easier to always have a positive impact on people. So that's just 3 basic concepts, but number 1, be invested in your people, right? Show you care. Number 2, be enthusiastic about the things you're leading on. And number 3, be positive. All right, stretch center. Just easy, stretch it out. Don't do anything crazy. We're not going to have a horribly hard physical day. So I need you warmed up and stretched enough to be safe, but we're not going to be trying to kick the ceiling or anything. So don't overstretch. Roll back, have a seat, stretch center. All right, we're going to break down some mechanics today and make sure that the kata is going well and make sure some of our traditional drills are all set up properly. On top of all that, quality of a champion this month is focused, right? So when we're talking about focus, we're talking about controlling energy or controlling your mind. It can be mental or physical energy. Over to your right, we spend a lot of time on the physical energy, making sure that we make the technique correct and that we don't spend extra effort that we don't need to. For 2 reasons. 1, because we want to get every bit of result out of the effort we do spend. And 2, over to your left. And 2, we don't want to unnecessarily spend up energy that we might need later. So, part of our focus will be on efficiency and just getting stuff done the right way. And I got a cool little thing to share about that when we get into our fighting kata. All right, back to center. All right, walk it back up, bring the feet in, butterfly stretch. This will be our last little stretch and we'll get on our feet and moving. All right, up on your feet, let's get on it. I'm gonna go ahead and broaden my screen a little bit so I can see y'all better. And we'll get going. Okay, so a couple things to think about when we talk about traditional drills and front stances, horse stances, back stances. When we do, those are your three core. You've also got X stance and cat stance that you'll hit as you go through ranks. But as we're thinking about those stances, years ago, I did Taekwondo, like, God, I don't know, 40 years ago now. And they called it a front balance or a back balance rather than a front stance or a back stance. The point is that there's kind of good vocabulary in there because it talks about where your weight is. And when you talk about a front stance, it's about driving your weight forward and having your weight pushing in. And when you do a back stance or a back balance, whatever you want to call it, it's pulling the weight back. So you're shifting your weight back. You know, horse stance is about dropping weight down. So those are exaggerated ways to see and feel where your body weight should go as you move. So as we're working on the mechanics in traditional karate, we want to emphasize those things. Then later, when you get to like a kickboxing position, you go to punch, when you freeze that punch out, you're not that far from a front stance when you really think about it. Couple things happen though when you punch, and we'll get into that today, is we're going to bring the punching hip forward, but we're also going to be pushing the opposite shoulder back. And that way you get both sets of hips, both sides of your hips involved in the punch. But we're going to start off with our fighting drill, traditional drills first. So step back to your front stance, about 3/4 of your weight's in your front foot. The biggest thing that I think people have a challenge with is they tend to want to put weight forward with their shoulders instead of through their center. Right? And it takes a little bit to get used to sitting into your hips rather than standing up on your toes and being tall all the time, trying to be a little bit more grounded or rooted. So if we can keep the hips the same level, now as we pull forward, our center moves forward rather than coming up and down. And that's what we want to try to focus on, is bringing that energy forward. So when we talk about focusing our movement, we're going to focus on bringing our hips straight forward. So one of the stances that you're going to see, not so much in this class, but by the next class and a little bit in this class, is your cat stance. Cat stance is where you've got about 95% of your weight in the back leg. So if I step through to cat, I'm basically here. My hips are on about a 45-degree angle. Most of my weight's on the back leg, and my front leg is fairly light. I can either use it to pick up, or I can drive off it, or I can avoid with it, or I can even pull it back. That's the midway step in almost every other stance you do. So what we're going to do first is use that left leg to pull and pull through till the right leg just crosses. And what I want you to get used to doing is pulling from center. So try to keep your shoulders level and just pull forward from the hips about 5 times. Just pull forward from the hips. So you're just keeping your body level and shooting straight forward. Good. Once you get there and your knee is in front of your ball of your foot, now you're going to push with the same leg you pulled with, and that pushes you into your next position. Right? And then do it off the other side a few times, pull until you get just past center. And about the time the knee gets in front of the ball of the foot, that's about where your cat stance would stop. But that's also about where that front knee would take over the push job to push you into position. Okay, so just kind of get used to that. Moving your whole body weight forward is one unit. That way we're not stepping and leaning in, but we're moving with the entire body mass at one time. So when you hit with everything. Nice. Okay, one of the best ways to... Say that again, Clara.
I think Mackenzie is staying level when she moves through her stances.
Really good job staying level. One of the best ways to feel that's off a middle punch. So just go ahead and put your left hand out, right foot back, and I want you to pull forward. About the time the feet cross is when you're going to push and switch hands. Okay, so you're just going to do that a few times on your own. Just get comfortable that everything delivers together. You're not rising up. And then when you get good on one side and you're comfortable on that side, go to the other side, same thing. About the time they cross, the hand takes off and they land together. Do that a few times to work your rhythm and your timing. Nice, there you go. The tighter your elbow stays, the straighter your punch stays, the more time or more distance you're aligned, and the better your punch is going to be. So if I let my elbow come out wide, I'm not properly aligned here. I don't have a very strong punch. If I keep it in tight, I'm exaggerating both motions, but if I keep it in tight, now I'm behind my elbow. And if somebody hits me early or runs into me early, I'm in a better position to push through, which makes your punch viable for a longer range. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and slide back and we'll do a few of those together, just moving together, and then we'll turn around, do some punches forward and back, and we'll get into some blocks and other things using the same hip mechanics. So the mechanics off the punch is probably the simplest. When we teach a brand new introductory class, we always start with punches, not because we want people punching stuff, but because it's the simplest place to get your fundamentals together. So left hand's out, right hand's back, driving forward, middle punch. Ready? 1, try to end it all together. 2, good, and 3. You don't have time for 3 or space for 3. That's totally cool. You guys only got room for a couple steps. Is that about right? Okay, we can do 2 in turn because it's not going to hurt me to turn extra. So slide the back foot, pivot, and then punch. And you're going to do a couple away from the monitor. Ready? And 1, 2, 2. Okay, look over your back shoulder, turn around, shift and punch. Hey, make sure you got room and kind of set yourself in your space where you got good space. Good. We'll do a few more of these coming forward. 2 forward, 2 back. Ready? 1, 2. Turn around. So back foot slide, shift, punch. 2, 3. Slide, shift, punch, go. Yeah. Nice. Good job. All right, down block. So your left hand's going to come cross body, right hand drops low, step forward. Again, about the time everything crosses, that's when you cut loose and uncross the block. Okay, so give that a shot. Stepping forward, boom. Let's do left side first, just so we kind of match up, and then right. Good. Now turn around to your left. So you're going to bring your left hand high, look over your left shoulder, slide your left foot, pivot, down block. Nice. Same mechanic. Ready? And 1, down. 2. Good. Looking over the left shoulder again. Turn around. Go. Hey. Nice. Okay. Upper block. Same way. Your right hand's going to shield your face. Left hand's going to start low and rise up. And go. Push through and rise up. Good. And 2. Excellent. Turn it around. Look. Shift. Pivot. Go. Same thing. Go. 1, 2. Look. Turn. Hey. Excellent. There we go. Outer block. So this is going to be what we call the ice cream scoop, or the kids do. Kind of the trailing hand is going to scoop down, and then it's going to become the lead hand as you step. Right. So I cover high and low, step through, uncross. There's my outside block. And 2. Good. Turn around. Same thing. So cover first, look, pivot and block. Moving forward. 1, 2. Nice. Turn around. Go. Hey. We're going to do outers and inners, then we're going to put some of the old katas together just to kind of try to build some of the mechanics up. And 1, left, 2, right, still outside block. Good job. Turn around, go. 1, step forward, go.
Nice and tight.
And again, go. Keeping that elbow in good. Very nice. Turn around, go. Yeah. All right, inner block. So your left hand comes to the ear, right hand goes out. So it's almost like you're just kind of, covering up, but it's a little more formalized. Same thing when you cross, you cut them loose, make your block. So this one's coming from the outside in. I tend to think about this personally like I'm hammer fisting. Like if I was standing beside the wall and I was banging on the side of the wall, you could see that. That's kind of what I think about that is. So I'm almost banging on something right here just past center. And it's actually somebody's limb that you're moving out of the way, but there you go. And then again, post and block in. Nice. Now this is a little tricky when you turn. So go ahead and post your right hand out, bring your left hand to your ear. And it's going to sound funny, but just kind of follow my directions on this. Leave your left hand up at your ear, like almost grab your ear, but you don't have to grab it. Slide that left foot, turn. Now your right hand's still sticking out, looking kind of funny. And then pull your right back as you throw the left. And that just kind of keeps you from getting your hands twisted up as you pivot. That'll be more fluid as you practice it. And stepping forward, ready to go right. And then left again. Okay, we're going to turn around, the same thing. So your left hand goes out, right hand comes up, slide and pivot. And this time the right hand's going to block in. Good. All right, relax for a second. Okay, so what I'm going to do next is take you through some of the basic forms and just build those patterns up. I don't care if you get the pattern great right now. That's not the biggest issue. It's that you start to get a feel for it and see how the blocks and punches link together. Good. Marcus, I can't see you very well with your camera. It's kind of blurry. Are you doing all right over there? Can you give me thumbs up or down? Okay, cool. Yeah, you look like you're through a filter or there's something on the lens. Okay, we're going to start at basic 1. We're going to work basic 1, 2, 3, and advanced 1 to build fundamental traditional movements. And then we'll go from there into our fighting kata, and we'll take it apart a little bit because that's our new kata. Okay, so basic one, I think we did this together a couple weeks ago and everybody followed along great. So knees are slightly bent, you're gonna look to your left, left hand comes up, right hand crosses low, step out to the left, block down. So that's your first downward block. Now step forward, middle punch, 2. Looking over that right shoulder, right hand chambers high, left hand drops low, slide or step back and then pivot all the way through down. And then step forward again, middle punch. Good. Now looking over your left shoulder, just shift your left foot towards me, down block.
Marcus, good timing.
Since you've got small space, just skip the next two, skip the footwork after this first step. So step forward, middle punch. And if you're in tight space, we would normally step and punch and then step and punch again. And that'll leave you right back here. That way you don't have to slide around back and forth. All right, now from there, your back foot comes through, which is kind of a different turn. You're gonna take your left hand, bring it to your ear, right hand across your waist. Little cheat is if you take your right foot and pivot your toes in about 45 degrees, makes it real easy to step behind with your left foot and rotate to your left to your down block. That way you end up in a pretty square stance. Hey, Marcus, much better on the camera there, dude. Okay, drive forward, middle punch. It's the same exact pattern we just worked. Down block to the right, step forward, middle punch. Looking over your left shoulder, down block. Step forward with your right, middle punch. And then again, for space, you don't have to step if you don't want to. 2 punch, 3 punch, back foot moves. Pivot that right foot slightly. Left hand comes up, turn all the way through, down. And then middle punch. Look over the right, down. And then middle punch. And back to ready. Good. So the way this was mechanically described to me for application is if somebody reaches out to grab you or latches onto you, you grab their limb and you yank that limb down. So if I reached out with one hand and you pulled it down like this, 2 things would happen. 1, you crossed my body up so I couldn't hit you too good. 2, by pulling down, it brings my head lower. So that mid-level punch is probably right to the base of the skull. So sometimes we get to position the target more than we think about chasing the target with a punch. We just put the target where we want to punch. So if that were the concept and I pull down, pull the guy off balance and try to hit, now, even though I'm down here, nothing stops me from shielding or covering because you got only control of one arm. I can still kind of sort of cover with this arm. So that's why we reverse and go the other direction. So you grab the guy's wrist, you pull him down, you try to hit him and he shields. So you just take that shielding hand now and you yank it around and you just repeat the same process. So that way you're taking their arm, yanking it through. When they go to cover, you're going to grab their opposite arm. That's a lot of work for them to not fall over in the first place. And then you're going to have another opportunity to hit them. So instead of doing kata at, some guy attacks me from here and punches from way out there distance, somebody's latched on and now we're up close and personal. And that application makes pretty good sense and explains why you might go to the other side. Other thing that they told me that the whole crew out of the UK that does all this applied kata stuff, it's pretty cool. When you go forward in the kata, the concept is you're face on with your opponent. When you go 90 degrees, what that really means is you either turn him or turn yourself so that you're off his shoulder side. So when I step out to the side, what that really is telling me is I want to approach my opponent from the side. So my targets are going to be to the side of the head when I'm going far to the side of the body. When I'm going straight forward, my targets are going to be the ones you see straight on. And technically when you're going backwards, a lot of times you're behind the opponent. And you'll see moves in kata where you turn to the back and you block and you grab and you pull. That wouldn't work so good on the front because the guy would just hit you the whole time. But if you're behind him, it works pretty great. So the concept is the relative position in the kata to how the kata runs is really relative to the other person where you would be. So it's kind of like a mirror the whole time. So when I'm going to the front, I would literally be front on fighting somebody. When I'm going to the side, I move to their side somehow and I'm hitting them from the side, which means, when you're fighting me from the side, I can really only cover good with one hand because the other hand's kind of eclipsed. Right? When you're fighting me straight on, now I've got 2 hands and I've got a lot more weapons. I've also got more targets. So it's always a trade. But the katas are built on that pattern to teach you some moves work great from the side. Some moves work better front on. Some moves work fine either way. It just depends on what your target selection ends up being. Okay, so basic kata 2 is built on that same pattern, that same concept. So we're starting off here, grab the guy's limb and pull down to your left. So this is basic 2. We go left. And then maybe we're not strong enough to pull him down as much as we want. So his head doesn't move as low as we want. So we're going to do a high punch, basically. So you hit high. Then it's the same thing, pull to the other side. And then again, we hit high. And then down block. So the concept is, not always can you put the guy's head right here where you can get your best downward punch. Sometimes you're going to have to fight gravity. Now 3 upper blocks. And the same thing with the footwork. If you want to cut off, move 3 and 4, you can. So this is 1, 2. And you can do slide step for 3 and 4. for space. Good. And 1 all the way through. Now 2, palm strike to the face. So we're going to use a softer weapon on a harder target, so we don't bust our knuckles up, basically. 3 and 4. 1 to the back, down block, outer block, right, step through left, step through right, back leg moves through down, palm strike, to the right, down, palm strike, and then back to ready. So same pattern, same essential kata, just different targeting. Basic kata 3 is going to be one where we shift from stance to stance, right? So we're starting off here, look to your left, stepping out to a back stance this time. So my weight stays on my right leg and I block out. So the idea here is I probably grab the wrist and I'm attacking the elbow first. I'm going to pull that arm through as I strike high. 2, step and high punch, front stance. So we're transitioning from weight back to weight forward. 3, turn back stance. So your weight stays on the left. And then 4, we're going to drive through, putting the weight back on the left.
Chris, you've been targeting on your high punch.
We're going to the back of the room, in front of the room, I'm sorry. Turn and block 1. So we're nice and clean, facing forward. Left side's forward. From here, we're going to straighten the arm out and push. So it's like we block the limb, we shove the guy back a little bit to get room to kick. Pick the knee up, front kick, and then punch, punch, left, right. I mean, did I say that wrong? No, it's front kick, single punch. Sorry, my brain just skipped a beat. Okay, let's go back and build that first chunk up. Sorry, sometimes mirroring beats me up. To your left, 1, step through right, 3 to your right, 4, step through left, looking over your left shoulder, coming towards me, 1. You should be, yep, right there. Good, so we're maxed up. There you go, now push with your left hand, kick right, right middle punch. Perfect, now kick again to the body, left punch, right punch. Just front kicks for this set. And then 1 more time, kick to the body, left punch, right punch. Good, let's go back and do that chunk 1 more time. Make it smooth. Marcus, how's this going with you? You good? Basic 3, first half, good job. Ready? And 1, back stance. 2, high punch. 3, back. 4, high. 1, back stance out. Good, coming towards me. Left side's forward. 2, push left, kick right, punch right. Nice, 3, kick, left, right. 4, kick, left, right, kiai. Good, it's gonna follow the same pattern. So now we're gonna pivot that right foot slightly, step behind with the left. We're just gonna go to a back stance. So back stance, outer block, then step through high punch. Looking over your right shoulder, stepping back stance, outer block. Again, step through high punch. Now directly away from the camera. 1, back stance out, left foot's in front. Okay, we're gonna do what's called a cup and saucer chamber. You're gonna put your left hand on your hip, put your right hand right on top of your left. Pivot your left foot, throw a right leg roundhouse kick. Step down to a front stance, bring the hands back over, so switching hips to your right hip, right middle punch. Okay, so then from there, we're gonna chamber on the right hip, roundhouse kick, switch them back over to the left and throw 2 punches, left, right. 1 more time, stack them on the left hip, right leg round kick. And then from there, just left punch, right punch, kiai. Back leg move, so pivot the right foot slightly, step through with the left, back stance out. Now, knife hand strike is just like the inner block, except it's open hand. So instead of pushing with the closed fist, my hand's open. My other hand comes in my ear, open, palm forward. I step, and I'm gonna strike temple level, just like I'm holding the pizza tray. Look over the right, turn and block. Step through with again with the left, chop through the temple, and back to ready. Okay, all that crazy chambering junk. If you grab somebody by the wrist, the general rules are our arms are close to the same length, right? So if I'm holding you by the wrist and I use my elbow, I'm probably pressing against your elbow. So when I grab something and pull to the hip, I'm probably holding the wrist here, breaking down the elbow here. So what you get is an arm bar of sorts, a straightened arm. And when they're bent over like that, we just come through here and round kick the hips out from under them. And then it's really easy to punch them because they're on their knees. So when you're thinking about that kata, it's a lot about manipulating where their limbs are. If you take the hand the other way, so one way you take it palm, how do I say that? Elbow pits down and palms up. The other way you take it, your elbow is up and your palm rolls the outside. It's Kotegaeshi. That's an outside throw. So you can either straighten the arm to push them down this way or crank it back the other way, take the shoulders off their hips. Either way, you can change their height. So you don't have to kick a mile high to clobber the guy. Okay, advanced kata 1. Again, built off the same pattern, but slightly different. So I'll talk you through the differences, but otherwise, same pattern. That's the core intermediate level traditional form set. So from here, look to your left, step out down block, same move as before. Now this time, they've grabbed hold of your wrist. So rather than struggle with them, we're gonna push off with that left foot, pulling back. So your feet come basically together, strike over the top with a back fist, and then step through and punch.
Marcus,
So,
keep your head level.
we're just interrupting that down block and middle punch combination with the inner block, with the back fist in the center of it. So look to your right, same sequence. Down block, they latch on, so you pull away, strike over the top, step through again, punch. Now going to the front of the room, down block, and then it's pretty much the same stuff going forward. Inner blocks, just 3 times. Ready? 1, 2, 3, yeah. So same pattern there. Back leg turns through. So pivot the right, turn through down. And we're gonna throw a vertical punch. So just keeping your elbow super tight in the punch and the knuckles stay up and down. So vertical punch, look to your right, shift, down block, step through, vertical punch. Good, looking over the left shoulder, down. Okay, 3 times knife hand strike, going away from the camera, just like the inner blocks, except it's open hand. Ready, step, chop right, step, chop left, step, chop right. Now from there, both hands extend to your right shoulder. Your left foot's gonna come through facing me. So turn through and face forward, horse stance, and we block down. This is normally done isometric and slow. Typically when there's a slow move in a kata, it really means you're shoving someone or pushing. It's muscle tension based. So it's not a striking motion, it's a grappling type motion, okay? On the 45-degree angle, so shoot your hands out to the left, step through on the 45-degree angle, block down. Bring your hands back to the left, square it up, block again to the right. Now chamber your hands to the right, step through on the 45, block to your left, and then step back to ready position. Good. That's all your traditional forms, basic 1, 2, 3, and advanced 1. So if you're looking for the intermediate level kid or the beginning level adult traditional set, that's the whole thing. So you've seen all the traditional forms. We are working fighting kata 2 in class right now. And I've got about better part of 5 minutes. I want to break it down a little bit. Big thing I want to do first though is work a little bit on punching. So step back with your right foot. This is going to be a kickboxing type punch. So we're going to be basically in a fighting stance, or you know, boxers tend to square a little more. We tend to be a little bit more slanted, so we can use our legs differently. But I want you to shoot your reverse punch forward, keeping your elbow tight. Marcus, I want you to feel this. It's going to be kind of fun for you, I hope. So keep the elbow super tight. Just engage the shoulders at the end of the punch. Do that a few times. Okay, then I'm going to kind of give you a thought about power. We normally think about driving off the same side that we're punching on for power. But at the same time, I've got quite a bit of weight on the opposite leg. If I'll push that hip back and that shoulder back as I push the other one forward, you'll feel that it gives you a lot of torque through the center. Right now, you want to be on balance. If you're not, you're going to cone, you're going to like loop. So set your head, shoulders, hips, heels, work on shooting that hand out. And when it's about 3/4 of the way out, I do want you to promote the right hip, but at the same time, I want you to push back with the left hip, retard that hip a little bit as you advance the other hip and get that torque. Okay, so just work on shooting the hand out, quickly torquing the hips. And you can kind of feel how your whole body's all of a sudden right there behind that punch at the end, right when you would hit somebody. That's kind of nice. Okay, just do that a few times where you're comfortable with it. So instead of pushing the punch out with this hip, I'm going to push with this hip at the same time. I'm going to twist with the other hip to push the punch out. So now that torque feeds my punch. Nice. Okay, putting the kata together. So that punch is going to figure pretty prominently in the kata. So from ready position, look to your left. You're going to step out to your fighting stance. You've got to have the base to be able to turn your hips. Upper block with your left hand, immediately, right punch. Good. Now from there, we're going to slide up, step in. And as you step, back fist to the head, and then reverse punch. So we're throwing a 1, 2. So we blocked and countered, then we followed up. Look over your right shoulder, shift and block. Throw the left hand counter, and then follow the guy up, slide step, back fist, reverse punch. Okay, do that a few times back and forth. So go left 2, right 2. Ready? To the left. Go up punch. Go back punch. Now to the right for 2, up punch. And then back punch. Good. Then one more time, same combo. Ready? Left. Put 2, right, and 2.
Thanks, Marcus.
Okay, that's your first 4 moves of the kata. Step back with your right foot. And we're going to work our kicks in. So we're going to slide up, front kick. So feet come together, kick. Back on base, back on stance, side. Back fist punch and turn that hip. Same thing with the round kick. Slide up, roundhouse kick. Back fist punch. Nice. And then with the side kick, slide up, side kick. Back fist punch. Good. That's your first half. Let's do that, all those 8 moves, and we'll call that it for today, I think. Okay, ready? Fighting kata 2, looking to your left. Starts out, block and punch, then follow up. To your right, go, block and punch, and follow up. Face to the front, set position. Ready, go, front kick, punch, punch, following up with your hands. 2, roundhouse kick, follow it up with punches. 3, side kick, follow it up. Yeah. Nice. Good job. All right, guys, that's the first half of the kata. Big thing that I want to get across to everybody is we're not stepping across in the fighting kata. We're staying same side forward. Right? If you ever do much sparring, you never switch your feet when you're going towards the other guy because it just kicks off your feet. Right? You might switch, but you don't normally switch coming in unless you're throwing a real power kick or something. Normally, you'll work one side forward, disengage, and then work the other way if you want to come back in. So the fighting kata is kind of built that way. We stay on one side to finish our combination before we switch over. All right, thank you very much. I hope you have fun today. Have any questions or anything? We do have the university up. All those forms that we did today are on there. And obviously you can email me questions and I'll be happy to jump in and help out. If you need extra help, just let me know. All right, thank you guys. Real quick, come to attention. Good job, face buddies, bow, so thank you. Face front, did my best. Focus position, ending creed. I'm a dedicated student of the martial arts and I live by the principles of a black belt: modesty, courtesy, integrity, self-control, perseverance, and indomitable spirit. What kind of school is this? It's a black belt school, sir. And what's our goal?
Black belt, excellent,
The
sir.
3 most powerful words. Ready to go? Yes, 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 I can. Good job, guys. Hope you had fun. Thank you. You guys are feeling better? Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad to see you guys are up and moving around.
We are too.
I imagine.
Yeah, it just hit us like a ton of bricks, and we all got tested on Thursday, and we all tested positive for it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, take it easy and don't over push yourself. But I'm glad to see you up and moving around.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Have a
Sure.
great day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye.